Jannik Sinner has started off in spectacular fashion at the Six Kings Slam in Saudi Arabia, destroying Stefanos Tsitsipas in straight sets to set up a semi-final clash with Novak Djokovic in the most lucrative tennis event of the year. Jannik Sinner had been dominating the ATP Tour for over a year. In fact, of the last 4 Grand Slams leading up to the 2025 US Open, he had won 3, and at Roland Garros he came within a single point after an epic comeback by Carlos Alcaraz. However, things changed during the American hardcourt swing this summer. First in Cincinnati, where an illness kept him from the final, and then in New York, where, as the defending champion, a superb Alcaraz took the crown from him in the title match. The truth is, Sinner had been feeling uncomfortable for some time. That caused him to lose the world #1 ranking, and although he bounced back with a win in Beijing, cramps forced him out of contention in Shanghai. Thus, he arrived at the Six Kings Slam hungry for revenge. In 2024, the Italian had dominated in Saudi Arabia after winning 3 matches, especially by defeating Carlitos in the grand final, a victory that earned him $6 million, an astonishing sum that cemented his record-breaking financial season. This year, he aims to repeat that success, both for the prize money and because it offers a great chance to redeem himself against Alcaraz, if both reach the final. A hurricane against Stefanos Tsitsipas. For now, the man from San Candito has started in the best possible way in Riyadh, cruising past afar from his best Stefanos Tsitsipas, who is playing this event due to Jack Draper's injury. The Greek is also struggling physically, with back issues and a low ranking, making him an ideal warm-up opponent for Jannik. And so it proved, as the world #2 won in straight sets. Sinner came out firing, taking the first 5 games with 3 breaks. Though Steph managed to win 2 in a row, he couldn't prevent Sinner from sealing the set 6-2. Everything seemed set in motion, especially after another early break in the second set. Building on that advantage, Sinner closed out the match with 1 more break and a 6-3 final score. He will now face Novak Djokovic this Friday in a blockbuster semi-final that will truly test his level, although the Serbian arrives rather depleted after Shanghai, where he looked physically spent. Sinner's honest mental explanation for the physical issues that led to cramps in Shanghai: "I fell apart." Jannik Sinner returns to competition at the second edition of the Six Kings Slam after withdrawing from Shanghai due to physical problems related to cramps. The Italian, who is defending his title in Saudi Arabia and has little chance of reclaiming the #1 spot from Alcaraz before the end of the season, admitted that the heat and humidity in China got to him and that he fell apart, leading to his retirement from the tournament. Despite having won 2 more Grand Slam titles in 2025, the Australian Open in January and Wimbledon in July, as well as the ATP 500 in Beijing, the season has not been easy for the current world #2. A 3-month suspension after his triumph in Melbourne disrupted his campaign, and he has suffered several painful losses to Carlos Alcaraz in Rome, Roland Garros, and the US Open, as well as the Cincinnati Masters 1000 final, which he couldn't finish due to illness. Another setback came in Shanghai, where he was forced to retire in the 3rd round against Talon Griekspoor after suffering cramps that prevented him from finishing the match under the city's tough conditions, something Sinner admits affected him psychologically. "The mistake was mine. The heat and humidity got to me and I fell apart. You learn from these things, cramps can happen, and I was one of many who suffered them," he said before the Six Kings Slam, in comments reported by Punto de Break. Nevertheless, the Italian feels in good shape to face the final stretch of this uneven season. "I took 2 days off and then we got back to work. I feel good physically and mentally. Conditions were very tough that week, but now everything is back to normal. I think it was more of a psychological factor. I talked to my team, and from that point of view things weren't perfect, but now everything's fine," said the player from San Candito before starting his title defense in Riyadh. Although his chances of ending the year as world #1 are slim, with Carlos Alcaraz firmly in control, Sinner hopes to finish the campaign by winning both the ATP Finals and the Davis Cup, and possibly adding titles in Vienna and Paris, the latter still missing from his trophy cabinet. "We are ready here and for the upcoming tournaments, Vienna, the Paris Masters 1000, and the ATP Finals in Turin, and I hope to finish the year in the best possible way," he concluded. Riyadh has become the epicenter of world sport, and Alcaraz arrives determined to shine. The most striking thing is the impact his arrival has caused. Carlos Alcaraz is admired not only for his talent but also for his charisma and infectious energy. When he got off the plane, fans surrounded him with applause as he smiled, took photos, and signed autographs. The Mercian has already begun training, focused on his big goal: to reign at the 2025 Six Kings Slam. His debut will come this Thursday against the winner of the match between Taylor Fritz and Alexander Zverev, and he knows he can't let his guard down. After losing last year's final, he returns with renewed motivation, seeking revenge and carrying the confidence of someone who feels at his physical and mental peak. Everything suggests that Alcaraz doesn't just want to win, he wants to make history. His aggressive style, smile, and humility are winning over the Saudis, who already see him as the tournament's great idol. The packed tennis calendar is starting to take its toll in October, just a month before the season's end. The 6 stars of the second edition of Riyadh's 6 Kings Slam arrive with various physical issues. Jannik Sinner and Taylor Fritz, cramps, Novak Djokovic, shoulder and ankle, and Alexander Zverev, back, all came out of the Shanghai Masters 1000 battered. Stefanos Tsitsipas didn't even play, skipping the entire Asian swing due to a leg injury. Carlos Alcaraz also missed the Chinese Masters due to a sprain he suffered on September 25 in his Tokyo Open 500 opener against Sebastián Baez. Alcaraz returned to training on court last Friday in Murcia, taking every precaution, with bandaging applied by his physiotherapist Juanjo Moreno. His final preparation session was against the promising American Darwin Blanche. The Golden Racket? Turki El Sheikh, best known in Spain for having owned Almeria from 2019 until early 2025 and as Saudi Arabia's Minister of Entertainment, gifted Rafael Nadal a solid gold racket in 2024. The present, worth €250,000, was meant to honor his career. The Spaniard now serves as an ambassador for tennis in the Middle Eastern country. Despite having already won 8 titles this season, Alcaraz still has 3 major goals ahead over the next month: finish as world number 1, win the ATP Finals in Turin, and deliver Spain its 7th Davis Cup title. To do so, he'll need to be in peak physical condition. After the 6 Kings Slam, he will still play in Paris, competing in the Masters 1000 held in the French capital, before closing the year in Italy at the Nitto ATP Finals in Turin and the Davis Cup Finals in Bologna with Spain. He will wrap up the year, before the Christmas break, with an exhibition match in Miami on December 8, facing Brazilian João Fonseca. How much prize money does the 2025 6 Kings Slam award? The staggering figure Alcaraz, Djokovic, and Sinner are chasing. The tournament of the 6 Kings offers a massive prize pool for its participants, far surpassing that of any Grand Slam or Masters 1000. The 6 Kings Slam returns with force on the calendar. For the second consecutive year, Saudi Arabia will draw the world's tennis spotlight with this innovative event featuring 6 of the biggest stars on the professional circuit. Following the path of other sports such as football, with its star-studded league and regular hosting of major competitions, and golf, where it has its own circuit, Saudi Arabia continues its push into tennis with the second edition of the 6 Kings Slam. The Saudi tournament boasts an exceptional lineup, headlined by Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner, the 2 best players in the world, alongside the legendary Novak Djokovic. In the second tier are big names such as Alexander Zverev, Taylor Fritz, and Stefanos Tsitsipas, the latter replacing Jack Draper, who had to withdraw due to injury. With no ATP points at stake, since it's not an official tournament, and lasting just 3 days in an already overloaded schedule, the main draw of the 6 Kings Slam is, unsurprisingly, financial. The prize money on offer far exceeds that of any Grand Slam or Masters 1000 on tour. Given that only 3 matches separate the contenders from the title, 2 for Alcaraz and Djokovic, who are seeded directly into the semifinals, it's easy to see why it's hard to turn down an invitation to the 6 Kings Slam. The price to pay, however, could be steep, as many participants have shown visible signs of fatigue. Just for taking part, each of the 6 players will receive a staggering €1.35 million, a figure that skyrockets for those who reach the final day of competition. The winner's prize stands at €5.4 million, bringing total earnings close to €7 million for the champion.